Hello and welcome you all to our YouTube channel Simplified Consultants. This is our very first video and I hope to get love and support from you all. So please do not forget to like and subscribe our channel. Today we are going to learn how to do GST registration. Let's start with the list of documents which will be required for registration. PAN of the entity, certificate of incorporation. You must have the PAN, Aadhaar and photograph of all the directors of the company, designated partners of the LLP, or it might be partners of a partnership firm or a proprietor of the proprietorship firm. Then you must have the letter authorizing the person who will be assigned as an authorized signatory. You must also possess an utility bill or an electricity bill signifying the name of the landlord. You must have the rent agreement signifying the premises under which you are registered for the business purpose if your property is on rent basis. Digital signature certificate is also required only in case of company or LLP. In other cases, EVC verification will be sufficient enough. Bank statement or a cancelled check copy is required to be attached with the GST registration. This can also be attached later on after you obtain GST registration within 7 days of obtaining it. One thing is to be kept in mind, Aadhaar authentication is very mandatory either online or via physical verification. Now we have to log into our GSTN website, that is www.gstgov.in. You may find a tab Register Now under the taxpayer column. We may opt for it. Now you will find the second slide wherein you have to choose, are you a taxpayer, tax deductor, tax collector? We are following the process of taxpayer here. 90% of the business over here in small scale, medium scale falls under this category, whether you are a service provider or a supplier of goods. So we'll be choosing a taxpayer option right over here. Then you have to select your state, the district you live in. Important point over here is legal name of the business has to be provided, which is already mentioned in your PAN. If you are a proprietor, please mention your own PAN number. Therefore, your personal name will be appearing over here. In case of companies, company PAN number has to be mentioned over here, which will depict the company's name, company's full name, whether it is LTD, a limited company or a private limited company. Followed by your email address and mobile number has to be given, wherein you will receive two different OTPs and you have to submit those OTPs to move ahead. After properly filling in the OTPs generated on the email ID and mobile number given by you, you will be receiving a TRN number, that is a temporary reference number. This number will be validated only for 15 days from the date of application. After obtaining the TRN number, you have to again visit the first page, wherein under the taxpayers option, you will be getting an additional tab, that is the TRN option. The TRN which you have received just in your mobile and email ID, please fill in those TRN number along with the captcha code. Then you will be receiving a OTP which will be similar in both the mail and the mobile number. You can fill in those and submit. After that, form for GST and registration will open. The first tab, business details. Business details की टैब पे आपको अपने बिजनेस के सब डिटेल्स फिलअप करनी पड़ेंगी, जैसे लीगल नेम आपका ऑटो फिलअप होके आएगा, दैट इज द फर्स्ट पेज जहां पर आपने पैन नंबर दिया था. उसके बाद जो भी आपका ट्रेड नेम है, a business can have more than one trade name, so you can also enter an additional trade name. This new tab has been added after July 2022. Previously only one trade name was given. Following that, you have to fill in the district under which your registered office of the business falls. There will be two options which you will be seeing. Are you applying for registration as a casual taxable person or an option for composition scheme? So these two are very different options from the normal taxpayer options. Casual taxable person is such person who opts for doing a business for a certain time period, and he will be granted registration for a limited number of 90 days, which can further be extended by another 90 days. Downside, you have the reason to obtain registration, wherein you have to fill in the details, whether you are crossing the threshold limit or you are making interstate supply or due to demerger, merger, amalgamation, or are you an e-commerce operator or selling through an e-commerce operator like Flipkart, etc. Or you can also opt for registration under GST on a voluntary basis. This is up to you. One important thing we have to keep in mind is the date of commencement of business. According to the rules, if you are crossing the threshold limit of 40 lakhs or 20 lakhs respectively, whichever you fall in, you have to get yourself registered under GST within 30 days of the limits crossing. So it is advisable you fill in starting of the month date over here under date of commencement of business. स्टार्ट ऑफ द मंथ का डेट देने से आप वो 30 डेज के क्राइटेरिया में फॉल कर जाओगे. नाउ इफ यू आर हैविंग एनी ऑफ द एग्जिस्टिंग registration previous to the application made to the GST, जैसे कि आपका ट्रेड लाइसेंस एक्ट होगा या सेंट्रल एक्साइज एक्ट होगा, या फिर आप होटल्स एंड लग्जरी डिपार्टमेंट में कहीं पर रजिस्टर्ड अगर होंगे, अगर आपका बिजनेस वहां फॉल करता है, तो यू हैव टू चूज अकॉर्डिंगली एंड देन यू हैव टू एंटर योर रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर and the date of registration mentioned under your registration paper. Supporting evidence has to be obviously attached in, do not forget it. An option is given here under, so you may attach the document. The document which will be uploaded has to be under 100 KB size. The second tab will be of promoters and the partners. It is different for different categories of entity. Like we are applying here for the proprietorship form, so I have to fill in the proprietorship details. You can see the first and last name has been filled in respectively, followed by the father's name, date of birth, mobile and email ID. Now you have to fill in the designation. Obviously the person concerned is having any DIN number. The DIN number has to be filled in along with the PAN. Passport is not mandatory in case of resident individuals of India. In other cases like NRIs, you have to fill in the passport details. Now the residential address has to be filled in over here along with a photograph of the proprietor or the director or the concerned designated partner or partners, whoever it might be. Your proprietor, partner or director, any of them can be also an authorized signatory. So there is a separate button over here which signifies authorized signatory. If they are, you have to press it and select yes, and if they aren't, you can remain it as no. In case of company, all the details of all the directors has to be filled in. Filling in just a single director's detail won't help you. The form will ultimately be sent for resubmission. Now authorized signatory tab. If your promoter, partner or the proprietor is the authorized signatory, this tab will be auto filled in. Means if you have selected yes in the last tab, you can see this, all the tabs are auto filled in. I do not have to rework again. Along with the address, the only thing which has to be attached over here except proprietorship form is the proof of details of authorized signatory. It can be an authorized letter, it can be a board resolution in case of company, etc. Moving ahead is an authorized representative tab. Usually we do not fill in those, but if any of your person authorizing to act as an authorized representative, make sure he is getting registered himself with the GSTN or he has the GSTN ID with himself. Otherwise, you cannot assign him as an authorized representative. After filling in this tab, you will also see that the profile is getting completed and the percentage is increasing. Now the details of the principal place of business has to be filled in here. You can either go by manual selection over the map itself and the cursor will take you to the concerned location where you want to go, or you can also fill in the pin code over here followed by the district, etc., which will be auto filled in after you enter the pin code and confirm it. After filling in the address details, please do not forget to fill in your sector, ward or charge unit details. There might be options which will be showing to you based upon your pin code or address details which you have filled in above. उसके ठीक बाद कमिश्नरेट, दैट इज द जुरिडिक्शनल ऑफिसर डिटेल्स आपको भरना पड़ेगा अपने इसी ऊपर दिए गए एड्रेस के हिसाब से, जहां पर आप कमिश्नरेट, डिवीजन और रेंज फिलअप करोगे. इसके लिए एक लिंक भी दिया गया आपके हेल्प के लिए. इस लिंक पे आप जा सकते हो जो आपको एक दूसरे वेबसाइट पे लेके जाएगा जहां पर आपके एरिया, आपके डिवीजन प्लस आपके वार्ड नंबर के हिसाब से आपको बताया जाएगा कि आप किस कैटेगरी में फॉल करते हो, कौन सी कमिश्नरेट, कौन से डिवीजन और कौन से रेंज के अंदर. सो दैट विल हेल्प यू अ लॉट. नाउ फॉर कमिंग इनटू द कॉन्टैक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन, प्लीज फिल इन योर कॉन्टैक्ट डिटेल्स. आपका जो प्रेमाइसेस है वो ओन्ड है, शेयर्ड है, कंसेंट है, रेंटेड है, कोई भी तरह का हो सकता है. उसको डिटेल्स आपको फिलअप करना पड़ेगा एंड उसके सपोर्टिंग में एक डॉक्यूमेंट आपको सबमिट करना पड़ेगा. मेरे केस में मेरा ये प्रॉपर्टी ओन्ड है, so I've selected owned, followed by I've also attached my legal ownership document which I have with me. It can be a purchase deed, it can be any of the registry documents also depicting the owner's name. उसके बाद आपको यूटिलिटी बिल भी एक अटैच करना पड़ेगा. इट कैन बी एन इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल और एनी ऑफ द डॉक्यूमेंट्स डिपिक्टिंग द नेम ऑफ द ओनर, और अगर आपका रेंटेड बेसिस पे है तो लैंडलॉर्ड का नेम वहां पर डिपिक्ट करना चाहिए इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल में, जिसका आपने ऊपर मेंशन किया होगा कि ये रेंटेड है एंड यू माइट हैव अटैच रेंट एग्रीमेंट अलोंग विद इट. नेचर ऑफ बिजनेस एक्टिविटी हैज टू बी मेंशन्ड जो आप above mentioned premises में carry out करेंगे. If you have any additional place of business other than mentioned above, it can be n number of business, it can be 5, 6, 7. इसमें कोई restriction नहीं रखा है गवर्नमेंट ने, and you can select over here yes and then fill in the additional details over here. In our case, we do not have any additional place of business right now, so we are selecting no. Moving ahead, you have to fill in here goods and services, whichever you are supplying in the HSN code. There are more than 17,000 HSN codes listed in the GSTN website. So either you can search by the HSN number if you are well aware of it, or you can also fill in the goods or the service details. Like iron and steel की trading में हो, So you can go over here and write just iron, and you will get all the related HSN codes with the iron, and you can choose any one of them in which you are precisely trading or which is more specific to your business. Moving ahead is the state specific information. If any of your entities is either registered with the professional tax or having an employee code or with the excise department, please mention herein. It is very specific in nature related to a respective states, so it is not mandatory, and you can see the red dots are not mentioned here. So you can just skip and move ahead also if you are not. Our second last column is the Aadhaar authentication. In this, as I told you in the start of the video also, आपको आधार वेरीफाई करना पड़ेगा. काफी मैंडेटरी ऑप्शन है. आइदर आप फिजिकली करो और आप इसको ऑनलाइन भी कर सकते हो, जैसा कि आप ऑप्शन देख रहे हो. इससे एक आपके मोबाइल में जो आपने मोबाइल नंबर दिया उसमें एक मैसेज जाएगा, जहां पर जिस लिंक पे क्लिक करके आपको एक ओटीपी जनरेट होगा. सबमिट के बाद आपका आधार जो है वो ऑथेंटिकेट हो जाएगा. In my case, I have opted for e-verification of Aadhaar. So physical verification will not be required in my case. The last tab is the verification tab, wherein I have to just click on the verification tab. You can see the name of the authorized signatory, that is myself, and the place herein. And then I have to submit with EVC. I could have also opted by submitting with the DSC portion, but it is not mandatory for me since I am a proprietorship concern. So therefore, after submitting this, you will see within 5 to 7 days, either you will get a resubmission request with some additional documents from the concerned officer, or you will be getting your GST number. In some cases, we have seen within 2 or 3 days, you will be getting it. So I hope you had liked this video and have got much information from it. So मैं वापस से आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, हमारी फर्स्ट वीडियो है, प्लीज इसको अपना प्यार और सपोर्ट दीजिए ताकि हमें और मोटिवेशन मिले ऐसी और वीडियोस आपके लिए बनाने का.